H-Town, I'm back. It's great to be home. Go Texans.
That is the voice of the sixth head coach of the Houston Texans, former Texans linebacker DeMeco Ryans, who had been serving on the San Francisco 49ers coaching staff since 2017, most recently serving as defensive coordinator the last 2 years, officially signed as head coach of the Houston Texans yesterday, a 6-year contract. A press conference will take place later on this afternoon at 3:59, which is a kind of weird time to announce a press conference. I don't know if that's significant in any way. Hello, and welcome aboard the Paul Gallant Show on this Wednesday, February 1st of 2023. I am Paul Gallant. It is a Battle Red Wednesday. As you can tell right now, if you're watching on the twitch.tv/ESPN 97.5, I actually have a reason to unironically wear my Houston Texans starter jacket. I actually have a reason to wear my Battle Red Houston Texans shirt, Sean. And it's because today, for the first time in a really long time, almost 6 years, you legitimately have something to feel hope about with this Houston Texans and can officially turn the page from the Bill O'Brien and Jack Easterby era of the last couple of years. How are you feeling, Sean? This is like the E-Day, VJ Day. I'm sure this is just how it felt back in the 1940s after we kicked the Germans and Japanese took us in World War II.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's not enough excitement out of you.
I don't know.
You're such a miserable person, always bringing the show down every single day, Sean.
A new coach.
Yeah.
Who used to play here.
Right. That's great. I'm not being sarcastic. Everyone thinks I am. And this is the trick of this show, is that there are moments where people aren't 100% sure if I'm messing around or if I'm being serious. I am being serious here today. When you are a sports fan, check that. When you are a sports fan that follows the wrong teams / aren't a bandwagoner like I have been accused of being every now and then, you only get so many days to celebrate. Championships, obviously, great wins, and when your team does something that you think will change the course of their future. So I'm telling you today, maybe just for Wednesday, February 1st of 2023, I'm telling you to hold on to this moment, because this is legitimately the best moment since the Houston Texans traded up in the draft in 2017 to select Deshaun Watson with the 12th overall pick.
With the 12th pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans select Deshaun Watson.
And after that, the moments have been few and far between. You did have a 9-game winning streak from this team in 2018 that literally no one got excited about, which is pretty impressive. And it may or may not have driven certain important Texans figures crazy that there was no buzz during a 9-game winning streak, which is actually pretty impressive. You have that playoff win over the Buffalo Bills where Josh Allen crapped his pants a lot in the second half, and somehow the Texans were able to win that despite what might have been the dumbest play in NFL history. Remember when there was a kickoff return and the guy just left the ball in the end zone? And, it should have been a touchdown, but they called it a touchback.
NFL refs, baby.
That happened in that game. NFL rigged for the Houston Texans. Like, maybe you thought that after that game. But then, of course, they had the big lead against the Kansas City Chiefs. They blew it. And then,
the entire rest of the history of the Houston Texans.
Yes. The last 3 years have been hard. I'm being serious. This is a good day because they nailed the hire. You don't know if he's going to be a good head coach, but they nailed the hire. Isn't that the most important thing? That they nailed the hire for now? Because you got nothing to go off of until the first couple of games of the year, and honestly, probably 2 seasons in to know whether or not DeMeco Ryans was the right guy. And there's plenty of questions to ask. I will ask questions about it over the course of the show. I'm going to get all my negativity out because the YouTube commenters and some of the segments that I post here, man, they're coming for my throat. They're claiming that I steal Texans valor when I wear Texans gear because I'm not a true Texans fan. Huh. I find that outrageous and salacious, but it's fine on this day where I'm wearing a Texans starter jacket and a Texans t-shirt and red shoes and Texans socks as if I'm trying to troll those folks.
But be honest, deep down in places you don't talk about, what is the biggest news to you, Paul Gallant, personally today? DeMeco Ryans.
Did anything else happen today?
There's a video.
There's a video
on Twitter. I feel like you should.
What kind of video?
It's a very, very old man talking into a camera, sitting on the beach.
A very, very old man.
Very old man.
Is it Gandalf?
No, older.
Older than Gandalf?
Yes, Tom
Damn.
Brady.
What happened to Tom?
You may know him from winning a Super Bowl 2 years ago with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Well, I mean, no, I know him
and
from his
some
time with
stuff
the
that happened in
Patriots,
standard definition.
Greatest quarterback of all time. I mean,
yes.
Yeah. Why? What happened? I've been so focused on the
DeMeco
Houston
Ryans. Yeah,
Texans.
I get
Well, it's a big day, Sean. This is a huge day if you're a Houston Texans fan.
Tom Brady, much like last year, announced his retirement from the National Football League.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you. What are you talking about?
I don't know. Let me see if Schefter tweeted about it.
Okay. Did Adam Schefter tweet about it? Well, even then,
like 10 minutes before.
There's lots of fake news out there, and he did ruin Tom Brady's retirement last year. Wait, no, but you're messing.
That was my first thought. Honestly, was like, oh man, Tom Brady didn't get it ruined again.
You're messing with me right now, right?
No, I'm not. He did win a Super Bowl 2 years ago with the Bucs, and now retired.
Wait a second. Hang on.
After his first Super Bowl.
Hey, stop! I'm looking this up. This is serious. Did Tom Brady retire? Typing that into Google right now. Did Tom Brady career end 2023? What? How did I miss that? Doesn't matter. It's football time in Houston, baby. Give me some music. This is all about DeMeco Ryans. Yeah, give me some Clay Walker. I might have to cry during the commercial break about some of that other news, but guys, it is football time in Houston once again. They're back. Relatively. And I mean,
hope is back.
Hope is back. Listen, it seriously is back. And a lot of people know that I play this music when I welcome a friend back to my place. You know, use your imagination as to the sex of said friend. When I bring somebody back to my place, I start busting this out. This is the music I dance to. You know, maybe I'm gonna take my Texans jacket off. What? Why are you shaking your head, Sean? I'm just talking about what I do. I'm sharing with you what I do. You know, when I'm by myself at home, I play Good by Horses. But when I know that something good's happening with the Houston Texans, I play this music. So look, here's the question of today's show. This is the moment that's given you the most hope since when? Or just the most positive feeling since when? 713-780-3776 is how you call in. It's how you text in. Also, since we are the most interactive sports talk show in Houston, we will leave it open to you. How do you feel about the move? I think most people are very happy about it. They're very excited about it. And by the way, they should be. We don't know how this is going to play out, but from the looks of things, the Houston Texans got the candidate that every single team, including the Denver Broncos, who hired Sean Payton yesterday, wanted to get. Now, that might have to do with the Broncos being an absolute mess as they try to figure out how to own an NFL team, this new Walmart group. They might have a lot of money, but they're clearly learning on the fly based off of all the reporting that you're seeing. Ryans was, of all the candidates out there, the one that people were the most excited about. Maybe he's not an offensive mind, which bothers some. Whatever the case, this was the guy people were talking about. It wasn't Jonathan Gannon, the defensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles. It's not Mike Kafka. It's not with the New York Giants. It's not Shane Steichen with the Philadelphia Eagles offense. It's not Ben Johnson with the Lions offense. This was the belle of the ball, at least for all of these NFL teams. How are you feeling about it? I have a question for you next. We do know what it cost the Denver Broncos to trade for Sean Payton. Is that something you would have considered now that you see the final sticker price? The Houston Texans officially hired DeMeco Ryans to be the 6th head coach in franchise history yesterday. They released a couple of statements. We'll try to do some parsing of those statements. We'll hear from DeMeco Ryans at 3:59 today for his introductory press conference. And now I get, thanks to a couple of texters, why they're doing it at 3:59, because DeMeco Ryans, when he played for the Houston Texans, was number 59. Okay. It's kind of cute. What if they were really tricky with it? Instead, they did it at like 5 o'clock plus 90 minutes. Huh? No, that wouldn't have worked. I can't do math on the fly.
At 5:09?
Something like that. 5:09 would have been really interesting. Yeah. Or how about at 12:59 in the morning, 12:59 in the afternoon, 6:59 because he's 6. Whatever. I'm sorry. I'll stop. This is already terrible.
I really hope this whole 59 business isn't like. I hope this is just for
a regular thing. No, I think it should be.
Introductory press conference.
Look, you got to call back to the heroes of the past.
He's already the coach. What more do we have to do?
But it's DeMeco time now.
Okay.
It's always DeMeco time. What? You're just not excited enough for me.
This is Tom Coughlin time all over again.
No, Tom Coughlin time was 10 minutes before, and he'd fine you if you didn't show up.
Yeah, but if Tom Coughlin were number 59, he would make it 59.
If you start,
it's a little bit of a look-at-me move,
Sean. If you start everything 1 minute earlier and you add all those minutes up, I mean, how much time are you potentially adding to your productivity, to your opportunity cost? I took economics. Did I do well in it? I don't remember. But opportunity cost, that's a couple of words.
That's a buzzword.
And if you add a couple extra minutes into the Texans' future, then hey,
okay, things
could be a little bit better. You're not excited enough for me. You're just not. I know it's hard at times for you. You know, the negative person who brings this show down every single day. I know it's hard, Sean.
What was that?
I mean, I'm being sarcastic to an extent. I hope that people can sometimes hear through the sarcasm. But Sean, noted bringer down of the show every single day with his just constant negativity and acting like we're all going to die tomorrow. Well, listen, I need you to be... Know. AI is so far down the road from taking us out. It's at least 10 years.
Car crashes are still a thing. It's raining a lot.
Jeez.
A lot of dangerous roads.
Speaking of car crashes, the Denver Broncos. How about that? Is that a nice transition? The Broncos are a mess. And I think that we need to take a look at that Sean Payton trade through a different lens, because the Broncos were going to pay Payton between $17 and $20 million a year, traded the first round pick that they have this year, which is the 30th, check that, the 29th overall pick in this year's draft. It was the San Francisco 49ers pick. It's moved a couple of times. The Miami Dolphins had it most recently. They traded it to Denver for pass rusher Bradley Chubb. So the Saints get pick 29. They'll also get a 2024 second round pick in exchange for Sean Payton. New Orleans will send Denver a 2024 third-round pick. People are looking at this trade, I think a lot of Texans fans in particular, and you're thinking to yourself, that trade would have been crazy. And you're saying it would have been crazy because of the extra pick involved. It's essentially 2 second-round picks, though, with the third coming back for one of the more accomplished head coaches in the NFL since the turn of the century. Because you've seen him be successful before, it stands to reason that he will be successful again. Where you are rolling the dice to an extent on DeMeco Ryans. It might work out great. Honestly, no one knows at this point in time. You can have a hunch, you can have a gut feeling, but no one really knows. I think the reason that people are perhaps looking at the Denver Broncos with the side eye, and in fact, that they would make this move for Sean Payton in offseason after trading for Russell Wilson, is because of what a disaster Russell Wilson's been with the Denver Broncos to open things up. And then when you think about what Denver's actually traded over the last couple of years, 3 first-round picks, 3 second-round picks, and additional assets to acquire Russell Wilson and Sean Payton. Now, before that combination drives off the lot, that makes sense, right? 3 firsts and 3 seconds for one of the better coaches in the league and one of the better quarterbacks in the league. But we've seen Russell Wilson, and now you think to yourself, if you're looking at Denver through a somewhat objective lens, or maybe from a I'm glad the Texans didn't make this trade kind of lens, you're probably making both of those moves into one. And it does make the Broncos look messy. But I think that the Broncos trading for Sean Payton was a good move. This is the only way you could probably save Russell Wilson. And I feel like he does give the Broncos a sense of legitimacy that they did not have with Nathaniel Hackett and haven't had for a couple of years. So the question I ask, in addition to what are your thoughts on the Texans hiring DeMeco Ryans, and is this the best moment since X, is this a move you would have thought about? If you can remove all the Russell Wilson mess from that Sean Payton trade, it's actually a good trade. It's a good trade for the Denver Broncos. I don't think there's any arguing that. He is a more proven candidate than any of the other guys out there. And a lot of people have their hunches on who could be good and who couldn't be good. It's all hunches. Where with Sean Payton, it's somebody who has done it before. Has he done it great before? No, but I feel like while there was a partnership between Drew Brees and Payton over their entirety in New Orleans, I feel like Brees was holding Payton back at the very end when his skills started to deteriorate. So I feel like Payton, operating with more control over an organization going forward, could be pretty good. Could have been pretty good here. You would have had to give up extra picks, but guess what? You got a lot of draft picks.
Also, you wouldn't have to given up 2 or 12.
From the sound of things, right, this might have been 2 second-round picks.
This first-round pick is only like 3 picks ahead of the Texans' second-round pick.
Right. You're right.
So it's a first-round. I guess the Saints wouldn't have done it because they want to say they got a first-round pick.
They probably would have asked for the 12th overall pick, and you would have only had to give that. And you'd probably get a pick back in return.
Yeah,
though.
you probably got on a second back or something.
Something like that, yeah. So if you make this trade, it actually would have been rather palatable for the Texans. I know a lot of people online are draft pick hoarders, and you hate the idea of giving up picks, especially with where this team is. But
it's Sean freaking Payton.
Yeah, it's Sean Payton.
I mean, essentially, the Broncos traded Bradley Chubb for a first-round pick that became Sean Payton. So they traded a pass rusher for Sean Payton, one of the best coaches in the NFL.
I mean, it actually worked out all right for Denver. The problem is the Russell Wilson trade. And you add the two together, then it looks like an absolute disaster right now.
Yeah, the Russell Wilson part's bad.
And also the Denver part's bad, too. I mean, Denver was basically flailing all over the place looking to get somebody, but they did ultimately get Sean Payton, who it's a pretty good hire. It's definitely more whelming than Frank Reich in Carolina. No offense to Frank Reich. I don't think Frank Reich's even a bad coach. It's Frank Reich.
It is very much like we're signing up to have like the 14th best coach in the league.
Yeah, which isn't bad, but it's not what you are looking for if you're trying to change the organization and its perception across the league. A comment from Virginia Bunweed: the Texans will now give up those picks that they have to get Bryce Young, 2 and 12 to trade up to 1. Oh boy, here comes the negative energy. Look, I want to say it again, because I know a lot of people, you hear some of the things that I say, and you believe that I hate a move because I'm being sarcastic or having a little bit of fun here. The hiring of DeMeco Ryans is a home run. There is no arguing that. It has legitimized this franchise, which has been essentially just doing nothing and completely irrelevant for the last 3 years. Ever since the 24-7 collapse against Kansas City, they have been arguably the worst franchise in the league with the worst headlines along the way. Whether it was trading DeAndre Hopkins for pennies, or it was basically pissing J.J. Watt off to the point that he asked out, or it was Bill O'Brien being a jerk to everybody, or it was Jack Easterby being a weasel to a lot of people in the organization, and a bunch of other things along the way, including some really bad play, the David Culley era, which was rather underwhelming, a full season of Davis Mills plus a couple of games at the end. Check that, almost 2 full seasons of Davis Mills. Like, you are out of the darkness. You are out of the void. You have escaped the phantom zone. This is good. I'm happy about the hire. I do wonder, though, and I always probably will wonder, what could have been with Sean Payton that was not that expensive of a price to bring him in. And if you think it's expensive, it's probably because you're looking at the Russell Wilson trade that the Broncos made too, and you're like, oh my God, look how much they've given up for this. But it does make sense. I wanted to try and interpret a couple of statements from the Houston Texans They will have a press conference today at 3:59, 59 in honor of DeMeco Ryans' number with the Houston Texans, where Ryans will finally get to speak with the media. You bet your bottom dollar that I'm going to have my Big J boots on and out there asking some questions. Cal McNair had this to say about DeMeco Ryans as head coach of the Texans. DeMeco is everything we are looking for in a leader and coach for our organization. He has a proven track record for developing high-quality players and constantly innovated his defensive scheme over the last 6 seasons in San Francisco. My interpretation of Cal McNair's statement right there, that is what DeMeco Ryans sold Cal on. Is that actually true? We're going to find out a little bit more with Matt Mayoko of the NBC Sports San Francisco. I almost said CSN San Francisco. CSN doesn't exist anymore, whatever. You don't care about that. We're going to ask him about how much of a role he had in that stretch. Because remember, Robert Saleh was also the defensive coordinator of the San Francisco 49ers then. And the Niners have had some really good defensive players over this Kyle Shanahan era. Nick Bosa's one of them. Fred Warner's good. And as far as player development, I think that's who DeMeco Ryans would definitely point at and say, look, I got the most out of this guy. He's maybe the best middle linebacker, not named Micah Parsons, in the NFL. And I believe, I'm not 100% sure what the All-Pro voting is going to be, but I would not be surprised if Warner ends up the first-team All-Pro middle linebacker and not Micah Parsons, because Parsons might be getting voted at a couple of different positions, but you don't care about that either. To continue the statement by Cal McNair, we started this process with the goal of finding someone our fans and city can be proud of, and we've done just that. While we received a lot of incredible feedback and our support for DeMeco from different people, it was our discussions with him and his vision for our football team that made him the right coach to lead us as we continue to evolve as an organization. A pause again. They are listening. It's taken them too long to listen, but they are listening. And that statement right there by Cal McNair does confirm, to an extent, there was some fan disservice, at least in mind, when they hired DeMeco Ryans. That is not a problem, but that is a reality. The last part, congratulations to DeMeco and his family, and welcome back to H-Town. Brings up H-Town. They are very big. He threw up the H probably as he signed that on the dotted line, that statement that he wrote. I got to say, they're making a big deal about H-Town these days. And I like that they are at the very least realizing that they have not been a part of this city since their inception. They have been this weird team that happens to pay rent here. Now they're actually starting to embrace the fact that they're Houston. Took them way too long. But you take it when you can get it. Nick Caserio had a statement as well. On behalf of the entire Texans organization, I would like to welcome DeMeco Ryans and his family back to Houston. It's interesting that he begins it saying, on the behalf of the entire Texans organization, I welcome him to Houston. I would say, hey, I'm Nick Caserio, and all right, we got to make this work. That's what that opening statement means. We got to make this work. DeMeco is a proven coach with a track record of success who has an innate ability to lead people. That is definitely true. He is progressive in his vision, a great communicator, a connector, and somebody that values collaboration. Pause. Go back to Caserio's press conference after the Texans announced the firing of Lovie Smith. You'll notice that he said the word collaborate often. Caserio is going to have to learn to perhaps take his hands off of everything, which I don't think is easy for many people to do. I'll admit myself, I'm a control freak at times. Delegation's hard. Caserio has not delegated well. I'm very curious as to what kind of partnership this is, though, when it comes to collaboration and what kind of partnership Caserio would want. We continue to read Nick Caserio's statement and then try to interpret it along on the fly. We are working to build a sustainable program that has long-term success, and DeMeco is the coach we feel is the best fit to help us achieve our goals. We feel. I do want to know what Caserio's true thoughts were in this matter. Was DeMeco the guy for him? Because DeMeco's definitely the guy for Cal. Continues the statement. We know how important it is to get results now. We have a lot of work to do. Blah, blah, blah. I'm excited to partner with DeMeco to build our football team together. And then we have DeMeco Ryans' statement. New head coach of the Houston Texans. I'd like to first thank the San Francisco 49ers, Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch, blah, 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 blah. Who cares about that? I couldn't be prouder of what we accomplished together. Also couldn't care about that. I will cherish memories, blah, 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 blah. Here we go. Here's the important part. Oh, bury the lead, DeMeco. Jeez. Being the head coach of the Houston Texans is my dream job. Whoa. Dream job. Wasn't it a couple of weeks ago that we were of the belief that DeMeco Ryans was not even interested in this job? That was from Aaron Wilson, and someone told him that. I'm wondering who did and how close that person actually is to DeMeco Ryans. This is his dream job. That might be overselling it a little bit of hyperbole. Dream job to be the head coach of the Houston Texans. Maybe it's not that bad of a job as everyone was making it out to be.
Is this the first is DeMeco Ryans the first person ever whose dream job was the Houston Texans? Dom Capers, not his dream job. Bill O'Brien, obviously not his dream job.
I'm thinking, Sean.
Gary Kubiak, maybe.
Gary
Hometown.
Kubiak would make sense. Gary Kubiak would have made sense because that was his first head coaching gig. It was here in his hometown.
Yeah.
So I think Kubiak, yes. But for the other guys, probably not. Like Bill O'Brien wants to be Bill Belichick.
Lovie Smith, no.
Lovie Smith is like, well, I may as well get this check. I mean, Bomani's right in that point that he made. Like, yeah, that was probably the last job Lovie Smith was going to get. Same thing with David Culley. Like, those were the last jobs that they were going to get.
The one last job.
I would just say Lovie Smith's record is being impeccable. Okay. Illinois, the Bucks, sure.
Yeah, you can peckable that.
He was good with the Bears.
Peckable.
He had a good time with the Bears. He had some good players. And sometimes you lose your fastball. And that was back in, 2005, 2006 when he was throwing at his best as far as being a head coach. That's almost 20 years ago. Continues DeMeco Ryans' statement. It's my dream job, and my family is thrilled to be back in H-Town. We threw up the H. I've been around the game of football my entire life, and I've always had a natural ability to lead others. Humble brag. Actually, that's an actual brag. I know what it takes to win and be successful in this league as both a player and coach. We're going to build a program filled with players who have a special work ethic and relentless mindset. I understand the responsibility I have to this organization and to the fans of Houston to build a winner, and I can't wait to get to work. A lot of politicking talk right there. So those are the three statements. Cal McNair, who you're hearing, there's a little fan service involved in bringing DeMeco back. Nick Caserio, where you get a sense of, I'm going to have to figure out how to work with this guy. And DeMeco Ryans, who says it's his dream job, and that is, I think, surprising to a lot of people out there. I think it is a home run hire. That does not mean he will be a great head coach, but this is a day worth celebrating if you're a Houston Texans fan. Be happy. You don't get many moments like this to say, the world is our oyster. Everything is positive going forward. Sort of the same thing, like say you get a job that you applied for, or you ask somebody out and they say yes, or maybe you propose to somebody and they say yes. You feel really good in the moment, but you don't know 100% what's going to happen next. Sorry to be the rain cloud of doom. I'm not trying to be that. But since a lot of people view me as the most negative person that comes to talk about the Houston Texans on a daily basis on the radio, I'm just going to get all of my concerns out, and then I'll move on from them. I think some people are worried about his partnership with Nick Caserio. To an extent, I am. I think it does matter how those two communicate with one another when it comes to who they end up drafting over this year's draft. And if Caserio's still around next year's draft too, they're going to have a clear idea of what the other guy likes and find a way to perhaps compromise. That's not going to be easy to build over a 3 to 4 month stretch. So that relationship could potentially affect the final product of this coming Texans draft, where they have, of course, the 2nd overall pick and the 12th pick and a pick early in the 2nd round as well. A lot of picks in this year's coming draft. Another question I have, and we'll ask Matt Mayoko of NBC Sports Bay Area about this. How much of the credit pie does he truly deserve for the San Francisco 49ers defense over the years? Not just because Robert Saleh was the previous defensive coordinator and has gone on to be the head coach of the New York Jets. The 49ers defense did not take a step back at all in the interim with Saleh now in New York. But there's also a lot of talent on that defense. The talent deserves some credit for that defense. It has to. And you could give DeMeco credit for developing the talent and putting the talent in the right place over the last couple of seasons and having an open mind when it comes to scheming things and stuff like that. But The players do make the majority of the plays out there. Maybe he was just operating with a defense that was damn good. Sometimes great coordinators leave great systems and suck. Matt Nagy, for example, with the Kansas City Chiefs. Adam Gase was around Peyton Manning his whole career. He leaves. How did that work out? Somehow we got a couple of coaching gigs out of that.
Hater. You're being a hater right now.
A lot of people would argue that.
How dare you wear that jacket and
listen,
hate on DeMeco Ryans?
Some people, and at 11:45, we're going to play all of the negative comments that I've been getting over the last couple of days because people claim I'm stealing valor by wearing a Texans starter jacket and a Texans t-shirt today. Homage.com.
I don't know if it's stolen valor, but it definitely is a little bit much, I feel like.
I think you're a hater.
I feel like doubling. You're
You
the one.
are
You're
the hater.
You're the one saying DeMeco Ryans is Adam Gase, not me.
I did not say that.
You're the one saying that he's Matt Nagy.
Here's the problem. Someone heard that and it's like, Paul Gallant said that DeMeco Ryans is Adam Gase today. Probably thinks he sniffs bath salts before press conferences, smelling salts, whatever. No, I did not say that. I did not. I'm just saying sometimes coaches come from good teams or good coaching staffs, and you can't always determine who's the right guy. I will say, as far as familiarity goes, there are a few people that the Houston Texans would be more familiar with hiring as head coach than DeMeco Ryans, given that he was here for almost a decade. So that's a great victory for the Texans in that column. But how's he going to delegate responsibilities? Is he cool with it? Does he trust his friends too much? Is he going to be able to make tough decisions when it comes to potentially moving on from players now that he is getting into that phase? And on top of that, with coaches. He's the CEO now. You can't really be friends anymore. You're going to have to can people. You're going to have to fire people. You're going to have to make tough decisions that you've never made before. This is true for anybody who finally gets moved into a management position. So this isn't just like a DeMeco Ryans question. This is an anybody question. So those are the questions I have, and I'm just going to flush that negativity down the toilet. Woof. Just going to get a little Febreze in here. A match. So I'm happy about the hire. But people are claiming that I shouldn't be allowed to talk about this team anymore. I don't know how many people have seen on the, at one point in his life, funny Jimmy Kimmel show, the mean tweet segment that they do from time to time. So this is 100% a blatant ripoff of that. But some of the segments that I have posted on YouTube, in particular, one that I posted about how DeMeco Ryans is a bit of a fan service move, which isn't a bad thing, by the way. People got pissed off at me. We're going to read some of those comments. Paul Gallant, more like Paul Gallant. Well, that one, I've heard that one a million times before.
Really? A million, huh?
I've heard that a million times.
Wow.
Yeah. One of my friends literally just does that whenever I see him. Does it hurt my heart? Not anymore. Did it at first. I don't know. What's wrong with being gay?
Yeah, why would that hurt your feelings?
It's a great point, Sean. It's a great point. Another comment. This is on youtube.com/Paul Gallant. Iadale9112. Do us all a favor. Stop wearing all that merchandise if you want to be so negative. What did I say that was negative about DeMeco Ryans today? Well,
You said he was Matt Nagy.
I did not say that.
You said he was Black Matt Nagy.
No, I
think
didn't say that.
Your exact words.
No, I didn't say that. I said maybe Sean Payton was the better hire in this situation. Maybe. We don't know yet, but on paper, Sean Payton does have belts on the wall. I did say that the Houston Texans are too woke. Some people might not have liked that. The Ones, 1442 said, man, they create negative angles out of nothing when it's a brother, don't they? Very, very toxic people, man. Just be quiet and keep it strictly about the facts. And be respectful about a real Jew coming to bail out this floundering franchise. Is DeMeco Ryans Jewish? I did learn on Pro Football Reference, you know how they had those nicknames of people that no one actually calls them? And maybe he was called this in Philadelphia when he was playing there. But apparently DeMeco Ryans' nickname for Pro Football Reference is Mufasa. Simba, remember who you are. This is CNN. Another comment. I feel miserable listening to this show. That's Sean's fault. It's been pretty clear over the last couple of days. Sean wanted this to blow up, and he wanted Josh McCown to be hired.
No, I didn't want Josh McCown.
You want? Well, who did you want?
I had just anyone.
Anyone.
I just wanted the Schadenfreude. Oh my God.
No, they got DeMeco.
A guy who was never coach of the Texans. We lost him. It's like,
Oh, no.
You didn't lose him. Also, I looked up DeMeco Ryans Jewish. Nothing came up.
Okay. Well, we'll work on that.
Who's the fake Jew that he's anyway?
I
feel like we'll get in trouble if we investigate
I feel like this is
too
like
much.
someone who probably thinks that Kyrie Irving video that he posted was factual. This is probably somebody who felt that way. Don't make that noise. Don't make that noise. Shut up, dude. Shut up. What else do we have? More mean comments. We are tired of you and your mouth. Everything is funny to you. Yes. I'm not even denying that. It is. It should be. We cover sports for a living. If you take it seriously, you're a bleeping loser. Yes. If you're listening right now and you take sports that seriously, have some fun with it. The team's been bad.
If you can't entertain the idea that
I mean, you're coming to the wrong show then. If you want us to be serious all the time, maybe tomorrow we'll do all serious. All serious. How about that? He could have went wherever he wanted to go be a coach anywhere, and he came home. Period. Well, actually, home is Alabama, so he's not coaching the Alabama Crimson Tide. Is this a stepping stone job for DeMeco Ryans to take over the Alabama Crimson Tide when Nick Saban eventually steps down? I don't know.
I'll be honest, it did cross my mind.
What is Saban making relative to what Sean Payton is making? I actually am curious as to if taking over the job of head coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide would be an upgrade over an NFL coaching gig.
Saban made $11 million this year.
That's it?
Yeah. Well, that's in like salary. They basically bought his house for him.
Oh, okay.
He gets hooked up.
There's got to be more going on. Like he must have some like access to
He
things
owns car dealerships.
That's not that impressive. $11 million. Okay, he owns car dealerships. That makes sense. I have yet to hear Paul have a single good take in 2023. Tank for Caleb Williams. Did I say that? DeMeco Ryans is just fan service? What a joke. Did we talk? I don't even think we brought up Caleb Williams.
I think this is the first time we've said Caleb Williams' name in 2020.
I don't even know who he plays for. I know he's a quarterback. I'm kidding. I know he plays for USC.